Shocking truth, what ancient Roman prostitutes did for 12 hours you won't believe. 7. In the heart of Rome, the sun blazed down on cobblestone streets buzzing with life and mystery. Women in vibrant togas wandered, their laughter wafting through the air like honey. But beneath this beauty lay a dark world, a truth about ancient Roman prostitutes that could turn your stomach, a demanding 12-hour grind that would leave even the strongest souls shaken. They weren't just sellouts in a dusty corner, they were diviners of desire, operators of shadows, entangled in a life that could flip from velvet softness to brutal reality in a heartbeat. Imagine the whispers of their names echoing through the forum, seductive yet brimming with danger. The first oddity. The scent of their tryst-laden perfumes, sweet and overwhelming, mingled with the musty air of Roman alleyways. What did they mask, and what secrets lingered just beneath the surface? Each bottle a trap for the unwary, or a tool of survival. You could almost hear the pulse of the city quicken with every stranger who crossed their path. Rumors swirled, some said a night with them could grant you visions of ecstasy, others warned of curses that could break your spirit and bankrupt your heart. Then, there was the unsettling practice of ritualistic forms of seduction. These women didn't just lure men, they played with fate itself. Every fragrant petal they adorned their hair with, every potent spice they brewed, acted as a charm, a spell cast in the embrace of night. Was it magic or manipulation? A fine line indeed. The tension was palpable, just waiting to snap. As you picture that dark wooden door, seemingly unassuming, leading to one of those hidden dens, a chill slips down your spine. What might be waiting inside? The laughter. The moans. Surely, there was more to these women than met the eye. What if they held the key to the unseen world? The clinking coins, tinged with anxiety, the quick, nervous exchanges in the thick, smoky air. How often did they dance with danger? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Now, as we delve back into the shadows, a peculiar sound breaks the rhythm, a distant scream, raw and piercing, cutting through the whispers of the night. What happened next? Would they risk everything to protect their secrets? The evening's allure was shifting, and those once pristine cobblestones now seemed to hold the weight of untold stories, locked away in the hearts of those women. And as the city slept, the question lingered, were they merely victims of circumstance or the cunning architects of their own fates? The scream hung in the air like a fog, smothering the laughter that had danced through the streets just moments before. It sliced right through the reverie of the night, sending a shiver down spines and causing whispers to spread like wildfire among the onlookers. Faces turned towards the sound, eyes wide, hearts racing. What had happened? In the shadows, a woman dressed in vibrant crimson vanished through the door of a nearby tavern, her laughter abruptly silenced. It was Lucia, known for her fierce independence and whispered secrets. Those who knew her sensed danger. She was not one to retreat lightly. What could have caused her to flee? A tension roiled in the air, as palpable as the heat of the flickering torches lining the alleyways. Unsure of what to do, the crowd stood frozen, murmurs rising like smoke around them. Did you hear it? Someone must have seen something. A voice trembled among them, laced with fear. The urgency of the moment sent a ripple through the gathering, and one brave soul finally broke ranks, dashing toward the shadows where Lucia had disappeared. What happened next was unexpected. A burst of color, a flash of movement. A figure darted out of the tavern, dragging something heavy behind them. It was a sack, stained and writhing. The sight made stomachs turn and hearts thud louder than ever. Curiosity replaced fear as the crowd surged forward, drawn by morbid fascination. One man stepped closer, his shoulders tense with adrenaline. "What's in that bag?" he called, his voice trembling, though he tried to mask it with bravado. The figure hesitated, a momentary flicker of panic in their eyes. Then, with a swift motion, they tossed the sack into the cobblestones, and it burst open, spilling its contents. The streets went quiet. Gasps mingled with horrified whispers. Out tumbled not gold or jewels, but something far more grotesque, brightly colored remains of petals, herbs, and the unmistakable red that could only be blood. Petals that once adorned the beauty of seduction now scattered about like a fallen grace. "A warning," shouted someone from the back, voice quaking with dread. "They've broken the unspoken rules." A chill snaked through the crowd. They all understood, these women didn't just sell their bodies. They carried the weight of unseen contracts and binding charms, and breaking them meant drawing the wrath of something much darker than mere mortal consequence. As the crowd recoiled from the horror, suspicions bubbled. Who was prepared to challenge the very system that governed their existence? Was Lucia in danger, or did her scream indicate something deeper? Something had shifted in the air, an alignment of forces that demanded an accounting. The pounding of feet could be heard echoing in the distance. Someone was coming. Fear gripped the onlookers as they realized they didn't know whether salvation or doom awaited. Would they stand by to observe, or would they seek the truth hiding behind the veil of seduction and shadows? Just then, a voice broke through the silence. "They are coming for us all." Fear gripped their hearts, but what was once a cuckoo chorus transformed into a frantic rally cry. Unbeknownst to them, the clock was ticking. Decisions had to be made. Who would lead them? Would they pursue the truth, or would they retreat back into the sanctuary of ignorance? In that moment, uncertainty weighed heavily, a gaping maw that could swallow them all whole. As tension crackled, dark figures moved from the shadows. The night was far from over, it had only just begun. What fate awaited Lucia? Would the streets of Rome drown in blood, or would they uncover the depths of deception lurking beneath their glamorous veneer? The air was thick with uncertainty, and time was slipping away. The pounding grew louder, echoing against the cobblestones like a drum signaling an army's approach. The crowd instinctively pressed back, fear weaving through their hearts like a noose tightening. The heat from the torches flickered and danced, casting eerie shadows that twisted with the tension in the air. People exchanged frantic glances, each face reflecting a mix of curiosity and dread. "Stay together!" shouted a woman at the front of the crowd, her voice quivering but determined. "We need to know what's happening." The dark figures emerged shrouded in cloaks, faces hidden. There were 4 of them, each towering and menacing. As they moved closer, the crowd parted, fear taking precedence over instinct. Dread pooled in their stomachs as one of the figures stepped forward, revealing a chiseled jaw and eyes that seemed to glimmer with a wicked anticipation. "Who has dared to breach our sacred pact?" The man intoned, his voice a low growl that reverberated through the silence, manipulating the raw energy of the moment. "This night is not meant for transgressions." His words were like chains, wrapping around the minds of the onlookers, squeezing out their resolve. A chill ran through the hearts of the crowd, they were all involved now, each staring at the man as if he held the key to their fates, and then the figure continued, pointing a long, bony finger at the remnants of the sack that lay strewn on the ground. "You see those petals? Each one signifies a broken trust, a promise betrayed. We will not let this night be forgotten." His lips curled into a smirk, and an unsettling silence fell, except for the flickering flames that danced in wind. Behind him, the remaining cloaked figures whispered among themselves, their voices rising and falling like a haunting melody. Fear coursed through the crowd, thickening the air as they waited, nerves unraveling. "What do you want?" Someone from the back croaked, voice barely above a whisper, but the desperation in it hung heavy over the gathering. The leader turned, and his smile widened. "What we want is simple. The one who shrieked must answer. She must pay for her insurrection." Panic rippled through the spectators, a palpable wave. Lucia. Where was she? The crowd murmured, fear thickening their voices, but no one dared to call out her name. The thoughts that swept through them were heavy: betrayal, punishment, retribution. Where is she? A voice shouted, breaking through the murmurs. They all felt it, the shadow creeping ever closer. With it, the looming horror of the reckoning. Just when it seemed the air could grow no heavier, a wild figure burst from an alleyway, gasping for breath. It was Lucia, her crimson dress now streaked with dirt and tears. Wide-eyed and trembling, she collided with the mass of onlookers, her presence a tempest, disrupting the unease. "I didn't mean to," she panted, urgency coloring her tone. "I saw them enough." The leader bellowed, silencing her. "The consequences fall on you alone, Lucia. You must make a choice." Faces turned towards her, stunned silence replacing urgency. She looked from one to another, desperation etching lines of pain into her face. The weight of 1,000 decisions hung in the balance. "Choose wisely, Lucia. Your life or the lives of your sisters." Gasps reverberated through the crowd. The choice lay heavy, almost unbearable, as her heart raced against the ticking clock. What could she possibly say, as she stood frozen, torn between the glimmer of self-preservation and the gravity of sacrifice? All eyes latched onto her, breaths held, hope and fear mingling in that charged space. What would she decide? The air crackled with uncertainty, pulse quickening with every passing moment, and they all waited. Would she betray them to save herself, or risk it all for something greater? In this dark hour, a revelation hung thick in the air, the truth waiting to shatter everything. The night was far from over, the choice had just begun. Lucia's mind raced, the walls of the moment closing in on her. The night air turned cold, a stark contrast to the heat radiating from the crowd. "What do I do?" she thought, adrenaline pumping through her veins. Faces blurred into a sea of expectation, all drowning in their own fear and desperation. "I didn't mean to," she finally blurted out, her voice trembling. "I only wanted to protect them." The leader's chilling gaze pierced through her, sharp as a dagger. "Protect them? By endangering everything we've built?" Lucia's breath caught. She swallowed hard, the lump in her throat nearly choking her. "I'll do anything." The words slipped out, heavy with resignation. The cloaked figures leaned closer, intrigued but not yet satisfied. The air crackled with a cruel anticipation. The grip of terror tightened around Lucia's chest, squeezing tight. "Your words mean nothing unless you act," the leader snapped. A murmur rippled through the crowd as they shifted uneasily. Some stepped back, others whispered frantic prayers. The tension built, a pressure cooker on the verge of explosion. In that moment, the stakes surged higher. "Lucia!" A voice broke through the haze. Elena, her sister, was pushing into view, face etched in panic. "Don't! You can't trust them." "Quiet!" snapped the cloaked leader, silencing her with a wave of his hand. The threat hung in the air, palpable like a storm about to break. Lucia's heart raced, caught in a tempest of emotions. "No, please. Don't put her in danger." She could feel the weight of her sister's terror crashing against her own fear. The chilling thought of losing Elena shattered her composure. "You have a choice, Lucia. You can save yourself, or you can save them. Speak your truth and face the consequences whatever they are." Those words hung heavy like a storm cloud, rumbling with possibilities. But all Lucia could think about was the love she held for her sister. The truth coursed through her veins. She would not abandon Elena or any of her sisters. "Well?" The leader pressed, his impatience boiling over. "What will it be?" In that moment, clarity struck. Each heartbeat echoed with her resolve. "I would rather die than betray my family," Lucia shouted, her voice ringing through the crowd, raw and defiant. Gasps echoed, recognition dawning, but the leader threw back his head and laughed, a sinister sound that sent a chill through them all. "So brave. But courage without wisdom is a fool's errand." Elena's face blanched. "Lucia, no." She cried out, stepping forward despite the danger, her own resolve igniting. "We can't let them take you. Stay back." Lucia pleaded, fear clawing at her. She felt herself stepping into the deep end of a dark abyss. Could she drag her sister with her? I will not be a pawn in this twisted game. Lucia yelled, defiant. Her heart pounded. This choice was far heavier than a mere vote. It was a stance, a declaration. The leader's smile dropped. Then let the reckoning begin. The flickering torches illuminated panic that transformed into chaos. People began to scream, scattering like autumn leaves caught in a blustery wind. The atmosphere twisted, shadows merging with fear. Lucia's heart raced. She had ignited something far beyond her control. But would her courage be enough? As the cloaked figures advanced, a heavy fog crept in, shrouding the scene, blurring the distinctions between friend and foe. From the depths of that chaos, a piercing scream broke through the sound of betrayal. The choice had sparked consequences beyond mere life or death. It would ignite the buried secrets of their past. What had they all been hiding? In that moment, amidst the swirling disarray, another revelation lingered just beyond the veil of fear, something that would change everything. Lucia's heart pounded as she realized, her fight was just beginning. But what awaited her in that dark, fog-filled future could shatter everything she had ever known. And as the crowd erupted in chaos, the question lingered, terrifying and tantalizing, what truths would be unveiled when the night finally ended? The chaotic scene unfolded like a nightmare, the fog swirling like ghosts, tumbling over startled faces, each wearied with fear and anguish. Shouts and shrieks echoed, crashing together as if the world itself had recognized the crescendo of chaos they had invited. Lucia's heart thundered, drowning out the disorder around her. She felt the weight of eyes, pressing against her shoulders as uncertainty mingled with dread. Stay together. Someone yelled, but it was lost in the cacophony. Cloaked figures advanced, shadowy and menacing, cutting through the fog like predators. Lucia bit her lip tightly, tasting metal. She pushed every ounce of fear into her fists, ready to defend Elena. Lucia. Elena's cry cut through the tumult, full of frantic urgency. We have to run. I can't leave you. Lucia shouted back, bracing herself. If they moved now, they could find safety. But the cloaked leader stood firm, arms crossed and eyes gleaming with malice. Flee if you must, he drawled, stepping forward, voice smooth yet dripping with menace. But it won't save you. The fog thickened, constricting, it felt alive, pulsing around them, embracing the tension. Suddenly, a shattering roar erupted from the edge of the crowd, freezing everyone in their spots. A figure burst forth, a man, shoulders squared, steps determined. It was Marco, the same one who had always protected Elena and Lucia when they were vulnerable. Lucia, Elena. This way. Marco beckoned fiercely, urgency etched in every muscle of his body. In that moment, recognition crashed over Lucia like a wave. He was their only hope. She seized Elena's hand, her heart racing as they surged toward Marco, carving their way through frightened bodies, whose faces twisted in panic. Get behind me. Marco commanded, shielding them from the oncoming figures. We need to break through the edge of town. The leader swirled around, fury bubbling in his eyes as he charged at them. You think you can escape? You think I won't find you? Lucia's mind flashed to countless nights spent learning the ways of survival, whispering secrets into shadows. The truth was, they were all desperate to find safety, the leader, herself, even the figures cloaked in darkness. But behind her resolve stood a deeper reality, a truth that she could no longer bear to hide. Stop! She shouted unexpectedly, her voice rising above the fray. You need to listen. The crowd stilled momentarily, confusion rippling through the air like electricity. Listen to what? The leader spat, eyes narrowing. Lucia hesitated, wrestling with a surge of emotions. I know what you fear. I know the secrets we share. Together, we can face whatever comes next. All this hiding, it has to end here. A flicker of surprise danced across the leader's features, a brief crack in his otherwise cold demeanor. What do you know? He challenged, his voice hard as granite. Her gut tightened, but Lucia pressed on, feeling the weight of the world shift slightly in her favor. I know you're not just monsters. You want to protect something too. You're afraid of the lies spilling out into the light. We all are. A tense silence enveloped them, the anger in the leader's gaze flickered, replaced momentarily by a shadow of doubt. The tension hung in the air like a taut wire, ready to snap in either direction. Behind her, Elena squeezed her hand tight, rooted in place, while Marco stood ready, muscles taut like a coiled spring. Enough of this game. The leader barked, regaining his dominance. If your truth is so powerful, let it be known. Lucia's heart sank. This was not what she had hoped for. As the fog conspired with the flames of chaos and the crowd edged back once more, that feeling of despair clawed at her. What threat would emerge now? What damning truths lay bottled, ready to surface? Then, as if summoned by her resolve, she heard it. The whispers of the crowd began to coalesce into an ominous chant. They spoke not of loyalty or protection, but of betrayal. Break the silence. Someone shouted. We want the truth. We want to know. And just like that, the tension slammed back into place. Palpable as a drawn bowstring. What would happen when the truth spilled over? Would it bind them all together, or tear them apart? The night was far from over, and as the whispers grew louder, Lucia felt the ominous pressure of fate close in around her. But she had made her choice. Now, the real reckoning lay just ahead. What secrets would emerge when the truth finally clawed its way into the light? The crowd shifted uneasily as anticipation crackled in the air. Eyes widened, and breath caught. The night seemed to hold its breath. Lucia's heart raced, caught between the desire to speak and the palpable weight of uncertainty gripping the onlookers. What would unleash if she let the truth spill? Break the silence. Someone else growled. The chant rose, echoing with a desperate urgency that resonated deep in Lucia's bones. The leader's jaw tightened, jagged teeth barely concealed beneath his thin lips as he studied her, searching. Give us something worth hearing, girl. Lucia's mouth dry, she felt the desperate need to buy time. Erlena's grip on her hand tightened, anchoring her to the moment. I know the truth. Isn't what you think. It isn't just your secret to keep, she stammered, her pulse hammering. We've all suffered under this cloud. Sounds of agreement erupted here and there, murmurs swirling like the fog engulfing them. The leader shifted, uncertainty sparking in his eyes, flickering with something akin to fear. What do you know of our suffering? He snarled, desperate to regain control. Before she could answer, Marco stepped forward, fire in his eyes. We know you're hiding something. We see it. His voice sliced through the tension like a blade. We want to know what binds us together in this nightmare. The chant surged, washing over everyone. Truth. 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 It echoed, each repetition feeding a fire that caught those just standing by, too frightened to voice their thoughts. Would every secret shatter now? Would it be too late to put the pieces back together afterward? The leader glared into the throng, the frightened eyes of his followers glistening with doubt. Enough. He barked, but the sound fell flat. They were restless now, hunger for knowledge coursing through them like a current. There are worse things at stake than your petty fears. Why hide from what's already known? Lucia pressed, desperation curling tight in her gut. Your truths don't separate you from us, they connect us. Suddenly, the fog peeled away slightly, revealing a figure standing at the edge of the square. In the dim light, a woman emerged, her features obscured. Darkness and luster played upon her skin, highlighting the thin blade sheath at her hip. A gasp swept through the crowd. Silence, all of you. The newcomer commanded, her voice holding a power that silenced the chanting mob. Recognition shot through Lucia, and she stepped forward, heart pounding. You, this night has come for long-buried truths, the woman continued, eyes scanning the gathered crowd, seeking something or someone. Her gaze locked on the cloaked leader. You've hidden too much, and your reign ends now. A shiver ran through everyone. Lucia watched the leader falter, the confidence draining from him as the woman advanced, holding their collective fate in her hands. Do you know what you've done? She asked, her cold tone sending chills down Lucia's spine. And do you comprehend the consequences of your secrets? The leader gritted his teeth, but the trembling in his hands betrayed him. What do you know? He stepped back defensively but failed to fully hide the growing fear. Behind Lucia, the crowd collectively hushed, leaning in to listen. Questions churned in the air, thick as the fog once was. Would they find unity in the truth? Or would lies splinter them into chaos? More than you think, the woman replied, unsheathing the blade, glinting in the wavering light. Tonight, you will witness the power of revelation, the kind you cannot suppress. From the shadows, new figures joined her, shadows of retribution and justice clinging to them. Lucia felt the weight of history crackling in the air. This wasn't just about them, this was bigger. Something ancient and powerful was unfolding, but the true danger lay ahead. What would the unveiling of long-held secrets unleash upon them all? A profound silence fell, broken only by the sharp sound of breath catching in Lucia's throat. And in that moment, she realized the truths yet to come could either save them or shatter everything they had known. The crowd's tension was electric. Lucia could feel the gravity of the moment as the newcomer held the glinting blade up high, light slicing through the fog. It caught the collective gaze, deepening the fear etched on every face. Your time has come, she said again, her voice steady and authoritative. With each step, she exuded confidence that felt alien to the leader, who stumbled backward. Murmurs rippled through the audience, caught between horror and fascination. Listen to her. She knows. Marco shouted, his voice ringing like a bell, urging the onlookers to embrace their disbelief. Do we dare to uncover the past? The leader glanced around, sensing the shift. Some eyes faded with doubt, others ignited with rebellion. She's manipulating you. He called out, but the uncertainty in his voice cracked, revealing not only fear but the tremors of a heart that had lied too long. Legends first, the woman said, cutting through his protests. What clings to your memories, what shapes your thoughts, the secrets you guard, they mean nothing if they keep you shackled. Look at your lives. Her gaze scanned the crowd, locking onto Lucia's, and the weight of it all hit like a wave. Suddenly, it was not only about the leader. It was about secrets buried deep within each and every person standing there. Each held their fragments of truths, shards of pain, hidden from one another. How many nights did you spend in despair? She continued, her voice lowering to an intimate whisper. How many times were you betrayed and left to wallow in confusion? You're not alone. Lucia's pulse raced as memories danced to life, her brother's disappearance, the way her mother had grown silent over the years, the nights of wondering if truth was just an illusion. Would they all gain the courage to speak? The blade gleamed temptingly in the dim light as the leader shifted, panic creeping in. Stop this. You'll ruin us. He blustered, but the conviction in his voice was crumbling. The newcomer smiled with cold authority. Or I'll free you. Watch them rise, these shadows of your past recognize what binds you together. She turned to the figures assembling behind her, cloaked in darkness yet radiant with purpose. They stood defiantly, silent witnesses to the unfolding storm. Lucia felt Erlena's grip tighten. What do we do? Her friend whispered, eyes wide with fear and hope intermingled. Tonight, we choose, Erlena, Lucia replied. Stay silent or confront it all. The crowd gasped as the newcomer pointed her blade toward the leader. You have until dawn to confess your sins, or your secrets will be unveiled by us. The choice is truly yours. A stunned hush enveloped the square. Lucia leaned closer to hear the collective breathing of her people, hearts pounding in tandem. Will he reveal the truth? Whispered a voice from the back. The ripple of anticipation spread, growing into a tidal wave of desire for revelation. The leader's face twisted in fury but faltered. She had awakened something primal within them, a yearning to uncover the darkness hidden beneath the surface. The night was far from over, and the stakes were impossibly high. "I won't bow to threats," he shouted, bravado battling with a flicker of uncertainty. But the night had shifted. Fear of the unknown tugged at Lucia's gut. The power of revelation lingered like a storm ready to break. She couldn't help but wonder, in the wake of secrets unveiled, what horrors would rise with the dawn. As the tension hung thick in the air, an unspoken question lingered: would they all emerge as one, or would it splinter them further, unraveling the very fabric of their existence? And all at once, the clock seemed to tick louder, each second bristling with the possibility of impending chaos. With dawn just on the horizon, what awaited them all? The silence was deafening. Lucia could feel the weight of every eye locked on the leader, who stood at a crossroads of his own making. The newcomer's words hung in the air like a pendulum, ticking away the seconds until either revelation or reckoning would collide. "Make your choice." The woman beckoned, her voice slicing through the tension like the blade she wielded. "The people deserve to know." The leader shook his head, his bravado splintering. "You think you can scare me into submission? You don't know the strength of my grip on this town." His words were a hollow echo, desperate to mask the reality festering beneath. Lucia stole a glance at Erlina. Was fear still the prevalent emotion in her friend's wide eyes, or had hope begun to seep in? The crowd swelled with restless whispers, excitement crackling in the air like the first flickers of a wildfire. With every heart beating as one, they waited, each individual thread weaving tightly into an unbreakable bond. "Enough!" A voice erupted from the back. Old Ben, a beloved figure amongst them for his wisdom, stepped forward. His gnarled hands reached for the heart of the matter. "We're tired of secrets. Don't you see? Our lives have been nothing but shadows of truth. Tear the veil and let the light in." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, echoing Ben's demand for honesty, for liberation. The leader's face flushed with anger and something else, fear. You'll regret this, all of you." He spat, but the confidence had drained from him, leaving behind a fragile shell. Lucia's heart raced. This was their moment. Would the leader finally confess the web of deceit he had spun? Would they see the dawn without the shadows clinging to their feet? "Your sins, your lies, they will engulf you if you don't confront them," the newcomer urged, the blade still glimmering, a beacon of her unwavering commitment to truth. Suddenly, the air shifted. A piercing shout erupted from the edge of the square. "I know what you did. We all do." Gasps filled the space as a figure stepped into the light, a young woman with fiery red hair and defiance in her eyes. "Zara!" shouted one person from the crowd, incredulity warping their features. What was she doing? The leader's expression morphed to fear. "Stay out of this, child. You don't understand the consequences." But Zara stood her ground. "I understand more than you think. You can't hide behind your threats anymore. We deserve the truth, and I won't be silent." The pressure was rising, like steam ready to explode. Lucia felt her own courage swell. "Stand with her. We need to unveil the truth," she called out, her voice unwavering. Around her, the crowd exploded with energy, shouting encouragement. The tension was palpable, winding tighter and tighter until it felt ready to snap. "Are you all truly ready to confront our past?" the newcomer challenged, her eyes sweeping over them, stirring something fierce within. "Then let us banish these shadows. I'll reveal everything," yelled the leader, his voice suddenly breaking. The crowd fell silent as they hung on his every word, hearts hammering. "You think you want to know? You might wish you didn't. The truth carries a weight that can shatter you." "Show us!" shouted Marco, determination lighting his face. Each call was like a spark in the dry grass, igniting a fierce fire of rebellion. The leader faced them, the weight of his secrets crumbling around him. "You think you're ready? Then I'll show you, but don't call me a monster when it's over. Lucia felt the blood rush to her head. Would this be their liberation or their curse? Just then, the first glimmer of dawn broke through the fog, casting a warm light over their gathering. Shadows began to retreat, and with morning's arrival, the truth felt as tangible as the rising sun. But uncertainty loomed larger than ever. As the leader took a tremulous breath to begin, Lucia wondered. Would the sun rise on their freedom or their destruction? And just when he seemed about to speak, the ground beneath them tremored, a low rumble echoing through the square. The crowd erupted in chaos, panic flaring again, as the real mystery of the night awaited their attention. Lucia's heart raced as the ground shook. Dust rained down from nearby rooftops, and the crowd surged, fear coursing through them like electricity. People stumbled, some cried out in confusion, unsure whether to flee or stand their ground. Beside her, Erlina grabbed Lucia's arm tightly, her knuckles white as she struggled to maintain balance. Is it an earthquake? Erlina shouted over the cacophony, her face pale. No. Lucia dismissed her fear. Something's happening. We need to stay focused. The leader staggered, his composure shattering as he cast worried glances toward the darkened sky, suddenly more menacing than ever. The tremor seemed to awaken something deep within the earth, a pulse of anger below their feet. As uncertainty loomed, he turned, his voice cracking, the truth, it's far darker than you think. You've pushed me to this. But before he could elaborate, Zara stepped forward, the fiery defiance in her eyes undeterred by the chaos enveloping them. You're scared of what lies underneath? She challenged, pointing at the trembling ground. This town holds secrets older than you can imagine, and they're rising to the surface. A deep rumble echoed again, louder this time, and the breath of the crowd hitched in unison. Some people began to back away. Lucia felt an instinctive urge to flee as well, but something anchored her to that spot. The importance of the moment of the truth pulled her back. Listen, everyone. The newcomer yelled, brandishing her blade, its glint flashing like lightning. If we run now, we'll be swallowed by more than fear. We must stand firm. Lucia locked eyes with the leader, seeing his resolve fading into desperation. What have you done? She yelled, her voice rising above the chaos. What are you hiding? That's just it, child. He shouted back, panic flaring across his features. You wouldn't understand. We've made sacrifices we must uphold to keep the town alive. Sacrifices? The word hung heavily, a weight that stilled momentarily the chaos. Lucia's chest tightened. What sacrifices? He hesitated, his eyes darting, trapped between a thirst for survival and the impending truth clawing at him. We've kept ancient rites. Rituals. The sacrifices of the past to stave off disaster. The ground shook again, this time with an intensity that knocked people to the ground. A scream punctured the air, echoing against the thickening tension. The quarry. Someone shouted from the edge of the square. It's collapsing. Lucia turned and saw dust billowing up, an ominous cloud creeping towards them. The dark ground began to fissure, cracks spreading like veins, revealing deep shadows beneath the surface. What have you done? Erlina whispered again, terror creeping into her voice. The old covenant must be upheld. The leader screamed, his voice twisting with pain and fear. You cannot extinguish the darkness without acknowledging it first. Panic erupted again as people scrambled towards safety, but Zara remained steadfast. We'll face it together. United or we will all be consumed. Lucia felt torn. Should they stand together against whatever was rising? Or was he right to fear the chaos they might unleash? Then, from the shadows below, something moved, a shape shifting, pulsing with an energy that felt alive. Gasps of horror ripped through the crowd, the leader stepped back, his face paling further. I warned you. Lucia stood frozen, the ground trembling beneath her feet. The truth, it seemed, was not just a whisper of the past, but a looming specter desperate to be unleashed, and right then, as the earth gave way to a blazing light emitting from the fractures, she realized that answers could come at a terrible price. Were they truly ready for whatever emerged from the depths? As the light blazed bright, illuminating their faces in shocking clarity, the question lingered in the air: what had they awakened? The light surged forth from the earth like a wounded beast, its glow swallowing the dark cobblestones, illuminating the faces of every onlooker, each reflecting a mixture of terror and awe. Lucia felt it deep within her bones, resonating with a primal force that stirred something long buried. "What is happening?" she whispered to Elena, clutching her sister's arm. "Maybe it's the truth." Elena gasped, eyes wide as they watched the fissures in the ground pulse, like a heart struggling to beat after years of neglect. A low rumble reverberated through the air, drowning out the chaos around them. The cloaked leader stood trembling at the edge of the light, shadows and dread clinging to him like a second skin. "It needs to be faced," he whispered, the bravado fading like smoke. Lucia stepped forward, her heart pounding fiercely in defiance of fear. "Then let it rise. Let us face whatever has been hidden." The words surged out of her, as urgent as the energy crackling beneath the cobblestones. Around her, others hesitated, anxiety flooding the air, but something had shifted. The irrefutable need to know fought against the desire to escape. Zara raised her voice above the swelling fear. "We can't let this fear rule us anymore. We have the strength to stand together." A flicker of courage ignited the crowd as they began to inch closer to the growing light. "Fear has kept us shackled," Marco added, stepping beside Zara, his eyes fierce with determination. "Let us break the chains tonight." One by one, people stepped forward, sharing in the collective heartbeat of those gathered. The leader could only watch as they moved closer to the light, their collective bravery streaming forward like a ribbon of hope. The earth groaned underfoot, blood-red light bursting from the fractures, illuminating not just the crowd, but whispers of memories that wafted like smoke, faces long forgotten, echoing the burdens of the past. The vulnerability of the truth was heavy, ready to spill into the air. Lucia took a deep breath, adrenaline pulsing through her veins. "We need to lift the darkness, together." With those words, she raced towards the heart of the light, the others quickening alongside her. Could they truly face whatever lay within? Together, they crossed the threshold, and as they did, the tumult beneath their feet receded, replaced by the piercing clarity of vision, clear and true as a full moon in a dark sky. The light enveloped them, and time felt suspended as shadows began to transform, revealing not monsters or sorrows but history written in scars, tales long untold. Ghostly figures emerged, etched with pain and love, laughter, and tears woven tightly into the fabric of their community. "We come not to condemn, but to understand." A voice echoed from within the light, resonating with authority. "To acknowledge our shared darkness is to reclaim our strength. We bind ourselves together in both pain and joy." Lucia felt something lift inside her, a burden shedding, replaced by an intense understanding. "You are us," she exclaimed, realization hitting hard. "All these years, we thought we were alone in our suffering." The leader of the cloaked figure stepped forward, shaking, but somehow emboldened in the presence of the light. You are right," he stammered. "I feared what I had buried, and in hiding it, I sought control. But tonight, we must reveal where we've been in order to move forward." A tremor of belief coursed through the crowd, courage washed away the fear, transforming them. The leader continued, his voice steadying against the rising tide. "The ancient sacrifices binding deals made out of desperation, they were never meant to silence us. We are stronger united in truth." A chorus of voices joined him, lifting the weight of their history, recounting the struggles, the triumphs, and the pieces of their stories long bound in silence. The air around them shimmered with the blend of emotions, the power of their shared truths binding them together, thickening the air with a sense of awakening. In that moment, the frail barriers that had divided them melted away, replaced with fierce determination. This was a beginning, a resurgence into empowerment, plunging into the depths of their truths, anchored by solidarity. As dawn broke across the horizon, its hues spilling across the streets of Rome, Lucia felt the warmth of hope enveloping them. United and alive with possibility, they turn to face the leader, awaiting a new beginning. Let us shed the shadows and share our stories. We choose connection over silence, love over fear. Cheers erupted, echoing into the cool morning light, a resonance of newfound resilience. They would rise together, dissolve whatever secrecy had kept them chained, and walk into the daylight unburdened, forever changed. The past had met the present, and now the future sparked with unyielding promise. The end had arrived, not as a conclusion, but as an opening to endless possibilities. Hey! If you love this conclusion, you need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories we have for you. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. To hear from you makes all the difference, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion.